Yeah, so the landscaping update, I kind of wanted to wait to hear from Jen, just kind of letting us know what's all been done, what's kind of come up. She does have like a list of like her labor hours. I know she's been emailing me, what perennials and things like that, that she's been adding to the beds and things like that. So I kind of want to leave that for her to give that update. If we can kind of skip.
I can give you a quick brief update. So yesterday she started planting the black planters. Yep, and then today she'll be moving on to the orange planters. And she did a soil amendment about 2 weeks ago, before the mulch was laid to get, fertilizer and stuff in there. And then also is continuing to plant bulbs so that the tulips keep coming. There was something else I wanted to give an update on. So we had more than enough mulch, which was awesome. We
We have that on a different.
Oh, sorry.
We have a whole mulch update.
Yeah. And then something else, this is good just to get in the minutes. So, in front of, or between Olson's and like where Haymarket, Plaza starts, there's a black pot that was there. And just last week, it was either the city or a contractor of the city was going and doing some like concrete work, and they had sprayed it all over the sidewalk and it's all over the planter. I have pictures of it and it wasn't cleaned up. So
We
she,
see that actually. Jen told me about that.
so it's a mess. She was gonna try to clean it up. But it's just kind of a reminder if, oh, here it is. Yeah, she took that video. It's all over
It's like
the bricks and
all over
stuff.
it. Oh,
And so if someone could, when
wow.
that happens, I don't, again, if it was a city staff or if it was a contractor of the city, but it'd be really great if they either cleaned up after themselves or alerted us, because these are owned by the bids and, it just looks really
Can you
bad.
clean up some of it?
Where is it? By, Haymarket?
This is the one that's between Olson's Ice Cream and where the Haymarket Plaza starts. Or the one.
Is it cleaned up now or did they still?
Jen was gonna try yesterday to clean it up, but it's been there about a week and a half.
Okay. Yeah, I can
And
let them know.
yeah,
Yeah.
just to follow up, or who in this situation, when I saw this a week and a half ago, I was like,
Lane, ask Lane.
okay, I was like, who do I contact to
Yeah.
get someone just to come back and clean it
Lane.
up? Yeah, mostly
Just
because
text them, it's a picture of it.
Jen, now, if she cleaned it, put hours for you guys into that,
Mhm.
you know.
Do you have
so.
Lane's cell phone number?
I don't have his cell, I have his email. Okay,
I'll send you.
that would be great. Yeah, if it's something quick and I was like, who's my best contact for this? I wasn't sure.
And do you want to contact Lane about that?
Yeah, I think that's a good role for Jackie to play, when those things come up, because we're seeing them before.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Interesting.
It's just great, like, you've done the job, just finish the job.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Can I put that in a minute? Landscape up to date. Okay, yeah, we'll kind of get into it with mulch too. Okay, this is a really side note, but I feel like it can go with the landscape up to date. So we know that the Riverside lot is getting taken down, like in the next year. 2026, is that what we're thinking?
They're working out the details on that. It kind of depends on what it gets used for or whatever, I guess.
Sure. So there's like a whole strip,
Yes.
of perennials.
Hideous.
And they're just kind of dying. And
Oh,
I wondered if we couldn't like adopt those plants and put them in our beds, because they're gonna get tore down anyway.
So yeah,
I know that's kind of a weird request, but like,
it's a bunch of,
some are dead and some are okay.
yeah, a bunch of lilies, and then it has some hostas, and then it also has,
Jen needs no more hostas for now.
yeah. No, yeah, I know, I saw. But it does look kind of sloppy because it's all overgrown and like
Yeah.
not cared for, yeah.
So I don't know, yeah, we have some bare spots in the bed. And so I had just kind of thought if there was, I know we got some like little hostas, about to grow.
She has a bunch more she'll be planting.
Yeah, well, no, I'm just saying, when Jen said, yes, we can use some, she didn't realize just how many I.
You had, yeah.
So actually, there was 2 truckloads more of hostas, and she said, we literally have no more room for hostas, or almost all of it will be hostas, so. We've got,
I see.
yeah.
They're mostly lilies, day lilies, and then they had some, I wanna say Creeping Charlie, that's not it. It's, not 4 o'clock, but they climb and they open morning
Glory.
glories. I'm losing my
I mean,
mind.
yeah, so I don't know. I mean, is that something like that we could?
I think the lilies. I don't
Well,
know.
it's city properties.
Yeah, I mean, like, who would we talk to in the city to say, hey, can we steal your plants? Because it might be definitely like it. Yeah, like, I mean, it's kind of an, I drove by it
It's not urgent, just
Riverside,
on the riverside, yeah, the Grand Riverside.
like where that wall comes up,
Yeah,
it's just
by
enough.
the, graffiti stuff. Isn't there a murals thing there?
On the opposite side. So it would be Grand Riverside right next to Phoenix Tap Room. It's just like
Yeah.
kind of like a long planter where that
Okay.
wall comes up where the parking is.
I will ask.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it did used to be really like lush and floral.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just,
It's
I
not
don't,
being maintained, is that
No.
the problem?
I don't believe so.
No, Jen has been like,
Yeah,
I want
Do you
to get my
want to
hands in
maintain
there.
it and then once the ramp comes down, take them then, or?
I think
that's
that
an
probably
option?
makes sense.
I think that would make sense.
Okay, then, I think that we can just probably, I would assume that.
Just put it-
But I can just confirm that though.
Okay, yeah, yeah, I know it's not urgent, it's, I mean, yeah, it's been sitting like that for a while, but I just.
Okay, and what are they called? Perennials?
Yeah, they're just like, again, mostly
Yeah.
lilies. So they're perennials that come up on there that just haven't really been maintained. Well.
So yeah, that's all, and I don't know, maybe while we're in that landscape up to date-ish, what about your update with flowers or hostas and all that? I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but
Oh.
you've been donating quite a bit.
Yeah, I think I surprised Jen. She probably hears from a lot of people. I have a lot of hostas. Well, with what everything I dropped off over at her place, I don't think she realized just how many plants I had.
That's awesome.
So, she was able to get some irises and a handful of different things, but, yeah, she's got plants, so.
Yeah, and she
And
had,
they're kind of the fillers, but I just figured, you know, if we could get, once
Mhm.
those get in there, then the money can go on something a little more fun.
Right.
Be a flower bed instead of having to buy an apple, because they're, I mean.
and
they're
she
good
had
plants,
kind
but
of
they're
set up a situation where community members could donate to the downtown gardens. And so last year we got quite a few. She probably had,
Oh,
some of the problem is sometimes they want her to come dig up like their whole garden and half of it isn't really appropriate for the downtown gardens. But,
right.
so yeah, she's been working on that this year. She got used, so she didn't need it.
yeah, so thanks for that. I think that's awesome. I don't know, I mean, I personally would love to just see those things really nice and full.
Yeah.
You know, whatever extra monies that kind of moves us into the next one, with like adopt a planter. I did put an agenda or an action item on this, and we can talk about the adopt planter, but there might be some monies coming in for, you know, the renewal on that maintenance. We've already paid our landscaper to do all the work. That's already been, you know, worked into her RFP. So we do have this little bit of money lingering out there. And, we can talk about what to do with it, but it'd be really nice to just invest in some more perennials and just keep filling up those beds.
Mhm.
Cause I think now that we've laid all that mulch, we can kind of see some bare spots,
Mhm.
you know, a lot more clearly, so. Yeah,
Isn't we got a compliment from Stroke Wall?
I know, heads up, guys. I know. The best look like, and
Oh, what is she doing?
yeah.
I forwarded it right to her right away. I was like, I just want to pass on a nice compliment, but it's a Dave Strobe.
I know, that was a big deal, it's a big deal. So, yes, we'll jump back to that landscape once Jen gets here, but, let's move on to the adoptive planter. I'll kind of hand this over to Erin a little bit, but, as you know, the adoptive planner, we're hoping to hand that program over to Decky since they deal with it in both South. We've decided to take a pause on it this year because we don't have any more money to pay anybody, to do more pots. So I think that's been a positive thing to just kind of take a hold until we get this organized out. Right now, it sounds like Decky is, about to, there's like kind of currently in the process of mailing all the people.
Yeah.
On their renewals, and so I'm wondering, what that dollar amount might look like.
Yep, so I'm just spinning here for some reason, so I'm trying to log in on my phone, but I'll just walk you through what I do know. So we're switching our CRM system over from what we used when we were at the city, which was Neon, and it's just a huge program and we don't need it all, but so we have to rebuild all of our forms and the payment forms in the new website. So that's happening now. I have reached out to businesses and, at this point, the only business that is not renewing would be Hello Dorn. Uh, I still have yet to hear from a few, so American Express and Transport, but that is Jen's acquaintance, so she'll reach out to them. Tangled, Clancy's Hooligans, Jay Ganther, Cohen Law, Paquette. Basically, everybody's renewing except for, there's like 3 or 4 that I haven't heard from. Urban Style, I haven't heard from yet. So the renewal rates that we have, which hasn't been sent out yet, but what would be consistent with last year is 225 for the small and 500 for the large. And so I just cannot get this. I wanted to give you exact numbers. So the 500, you probably have about 8 large planters, but only 4 of those are from other,
Yeah.
from other people. And so that's about 2,000 for the large planters. And then you have about I think it's about 13 or so of the other ones at 225. And then of course you guys maintain some. So you should probably have between 6 and 7 or 6 and 7,500. Those
Would you say 225 times 13?
here, I'm grabbing it right now. I would say roughly, and then again, because we lost the 3 at Hello Adorn. There might be more than 13. Why?
So that's a way bigger number than I thought. I thought we'd maybe be getting like $1,000.
Yeah. So this is the first year that with renewals, you're not also buying planters. And last year we bought planters before we got paid and didn't get paid by some people. So I have a balance in here. Because you basically had to reimburse Stuckey for the purchases last year, which was around $7,000, and that's because the cost of the planters doubled from the year before, and we didn't know that. And so the renewals already went out with the rates and the new purchases went out with rates. So the new purchases barely covered the cost of the planters.
So we still have a.
Last year,
you
you,
guys?
well, because of Jen and
Yeah.
Claflin, and that she's paying off through her work at $300. But she's not here. But the most important thing is that I need to know if they're renewing, because that's gonna be $1,000. That is in question.
I thought she had said she wanted to keep those.
Mhm.
I think she was planning on doing one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know that, so that's the other thing. Right now, the setup that she has where your guys are taking $300 off a month for her invoices is for last year's purchase of the planter, which was like $950, but she had 2, so,
Mhm.
okay. So for this year's renewal.
Yep.
Is she going to be invoiced like
I
normal?
could be wrong, but
But
I
it's
thought she said she was just going to pay this year's
I
and
think
then work
we-
off
yeah.
last. That's
We
what I
only
think.
worked out last year.
I would say that is the smart way to move forward, and that there's no more kind of comping, because that.
No,
Yeah,
right, yeah. And yeah, whether
so I can add
she
these up
paid
right now.
individually.
I think she was gonna do both.
I think she's gonna do both, yeah, so you need to invoice her. for
Okay,
both of those.
and then I have,
So wait, so what I'm asking is there's a balance from last year?
at this point, you still owe Decky $148.91.
Okay,
But we can reimburse that from this
yeah,
and then square up with you. So what my thought would be is we cut you a check after we receive all the renewals,
yeah.
less this
That's the
148.91.
one.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I'm gonna just add these.
so if my numbers are right, we got 4250 minus 148.50. So we have like $4,102. That's a lot more than I thought. Seriously, I thought we'd have like 1,500. So that's a big number to talk about. So I would, if there's any way we can make a plan to use that money. That dollar amount, when we receive it, I believe just gets dropped back into landscape.
Yes. Well, I don't know. Let's ask the city.
Yeah. Billy told me a long time ago.
So this is a unique situation,
Okay.
but we would be paying South Barstow bid the proceeds from the Adopt a Planter program. So when that check comes in, can you find out if it goes directly in landscape budget or if it goes into like their reserve account?
I will find out.
It should go right somewhere.
That's what I would assume.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it does, because I think that's money that we work to. keep in that budget. Yeah, so you'll find out about how that money's gets in. So I don't know when this dollar is gonna drop, you know, if it's
Had a
gonna be
big
months,
before
but
at the end of the season, there's good clearance. But we could get perennials, flowering perennials, and we were in the ground that would be there for next year.
now I don't know if she's gonna need. I was like,
Oh my God, that's, sorry.
is it that?
Yeah. Hello? Oh, no. We're upstairs. Oh. We're upstairs. We're upstairs in the downtown room. Where we were last time. North conference room and then come upstairs.
Um,
So yeah, so I don't know, what do you, I don't think we need $4,000 for perennials. I think
just
that's-
keep in mind though, you do have signs in storage, but we'll have to get printed signs for any missing ones that will come out of the system. None missing?
Hello were the only ones missing, but since they're not renewing. we
Really?
Lost the stakes.
An urban style maskers?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so, yeah, when we pulled them all up in that day.
Another thing that would be really great to tell the ambassadors is I randomly find the stakes all over downtown. Like one was stuck in a tree bed and then I'll move it back. But if they notice that,
Hello.
the plaques are meant for the planters, and nowhere else.
Yeah.
The orange planters and nowhere else.
And we have, some additional stakes that we got from
Yeah.
John, who's selling them. Yeah. So.
Hi.
Still ask flight, isn't it?
I never thought up here.
This is the room Aaron's gonna book moving forward.
We're gonna, we're kind of a little all over the place, but right now we're talking about, the money, once we get all the renewals from Adopt a Planner and pay Becky a small amount that we owe them, we'll still have roughly like $4,000.
Okay.
So I guess we get to vote on, how to use that money. I personally think that like some more perennials would be great. I think filling up some of our vacant spots, you know, that's a good chunk of dollar.
Is there money for replacement plants for Adopt a Planter or is it only for the beds? So already separate
Well,
from this?
Yeah, we have money still in there. We spent $1,200 of it so far. And then I still have plants left that I'm gonna be putting in there that I have. I'll do that after the pots, but I think bigger shrubs are great. I
Yeah,
think we need to,
Right.
but I do have, there's so much there.
Sure, I just didn't know if any of this 4,000 needed to be set aside for replacement plants for Adopt a Planter if there's like.
If there is some, yeah, it's in, that's what I included with replacement. Plants was that cost.
Okay, got it.
So costs and perennials, but if we want to throw it in there, I don't think we need all of it.
I
But
was just saying, that's a big dollar.
yeah,
If we had, at the end of the season, when kind of the stuff goes on clearance, if we had the money by then, would that be a good time to just go grab some clearance perennials and get them in the ground this year and they would just be there for next year then?
yeah, right now I just bought lily bulbs, a ton of them. I got dahlia bulbs that I wanna rotate every year in
Yay.
there. I bought those, so those are gonna go in there with some more perennials right now, but we do need bigger shrubs.
Yep.
In some of the gardens, especially the ones that are getting chewed on all the time.
Yeah,
So the animals are ruining the gardens. You can see which ones they are.
well, and I think like, I mean, and there's like one in front of acoustic that like, there's just an empty spot,
Yeah.
like right where the seats are, and I just thought, if you have big shrubs there, it would stop people from walking around, like walking in these beds, so.
Same with the Lismore.
While it would look
Yeah.
nice, it's also.
It's
just,
heavy traffic
you know,
areas.
Yeah,
mhm.
bigger shrubs will
Yeah.
definitely help that for sure.
So I think I would like to see some of that dollar amount go to it. And the other thought that I had, is getting some like, I don't know what this would even look like, but like permanent fixtures for like winter. you know, whether it's like a tree or like something that we can reuse every year, but we put a small investment
Into the planter
What
bed.
if we use the money to, we gotta do another push for adopt a planter for next year, and then if we do that, we'll use that money for new pots, order them now, work on the budget for August. And then include
Yeah.
those planters
I think
for
we
next
should-
year in the budget.
Take a minute, maybe it's not this meeting, but another meeting to figure out if Adopt a Planter lives at South Barstow or if it lives at Decky.
Yeah.
Because the accepting of money is a big deal. And then transferring it back is kind of foolish. So if we can independently contract her.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be in your area, like work together, but if we housed the program. It would versus,
We've got a couple people I know interested in getting pots, and I think I've discussed with both you guys, like, I just don't think if this is the year, they can get a pot next year, and it's awesome, they're interested, but I think until we get the dust settled on where you said it lives, I think it's.
yeah, yeah.
I just think we should have that all settled before August. When the
Yeah.
budget
Maybe
approaches.
when's your
because-
next meeting?
For landscape?
Yeah.
Well, let's see, we've been every couple months, probably another one in July, I'm guessing.
Can we put it on there too? And then we can discuss beforehand how you think that would work.
Mhm.
Yeah, because if, like, you guys discuss the budget every single year in August, and that's when we need to make the budget for if we have more adopt a planter
Yeah.
pots, we need to budget that money for those plants next year.
Yeah, and I just keep thinking with you guys being all volunteer, like this is something that probably more successfully can live under Decky, but it's up to you guys, of course.
I think it makes sense, especially since you do it for North Barstow,
Yeah,
and, you know.
well, and the other bids are considering, and so,
Yeah.
it would be nice if,
Yeah, I mean, we could also consider using this money to buy more big pots and fill up more corners, you know, like we had done in previous years, so. Yeah, what are your thoughts on spending some money?
Could be here, but shrubs, or flowers, or just
God,
pots.
spending money for it all. I mean, even two giant pots to put somewhere would be cool. Cause we have them, remember we put them on the 4 corner lot and they look cool, but they're little.
Yeah,
Imagine another four.
I know.
Would be cool.
so
So
then
then, you
remember,
know-
you should be considering the cost of all of that.
We're
Yeah.
not just such a money, I don't know. We'll see where I am.
we probably won't get this for a couple months anyway, I'm kind of guessing,
For the,
by the time they get, you know.
I'll be in the gardens again after these pots are planted.
Mhm. What do you think about like for winter pots, like something more structurally, like, you know, stuck in those pots that you can kind of build around, you know, like we had our little bulbs kind of that one year, something along those lines,
Bigger.
something bigger.
We should put
Yeah.
something bigger and make it
Yeah,
taller.
I would say for all of us, like we should start looking at their, you know, hot ideas and see if there's something that we can make an investment in. It'd be nice for you not to have to like cut down 35 trees.
I don't do, I found people now, but
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool.
yeah, there were, two couples did it. Two separate couples that were selling them on Facebook Marketplace, having grandparents land, both of them. And they're like, we'll just go up and get it for you. I was like, great.
So I'm just throwing it out there,
Yeah.
not that we would do this, but Milwaukee does this really amazing art crawl thing in the winter where they have
Ooh.
gigantic, like, ornaments that are painted by local artists. And then they're staged throughout the downtown, so people walk around and to look at them, so potentially this could be a partnership with, Color Block or Sculpture Tour.
Mhm.
To add, they wouldn't be as giant as the ones in Milwaukee, but you could have.
What is it again? It's a,
So they have gigantic, like, 4 or 5 feet tall, they look like glass ornaments, but they're painted by muralists or local artists. And then they're just like throughout the downtown, so people engage
Right.
with walking in the winter. There's possibly some grant money for something like this, but, that could be kind of cool. if We got the right sizes.
yeah. Yeah, I think we need to do something a little bit more permanent for those spots for the winter. That'd be great. Do you know the next meeting? Is it?
Yeah, let me know, about it,
That's
because
nice.
for some reason.
Okay, so.
Oh, we brought it up. I now have a contact. We did talk about it before. Did you get it off or no?
No, I sent you a video. I can't get it off.
Oh, that's from.
Next August.
Okay, so Stephanie, just to update you, Jen was unable to get the concrete off that planter.
Yes. It's 20.
I don't know if there's like some way to do it. Those pots were painted, like powder coat painted a couple years ago. So I don't know if there's a way to get the concrete out without ruining the paint, but I can contact Lane about it, but I just wanted to.
If you could just send a photo either to me or to Lane or
Sure.
both of us.
Yeah.
Contact both of us, but I did, send you his contact.
Yep, I got that.
And I messaged,
Yeah, I think she looked at it
Okay.
earlier, but
Yeah.
Like we would just.
so the planter or the,
Together.
Kind of both.
so it might need to be repainted,
Yeah.
is that?
Well, it's dried concrete, I'm assuming, right? So it might need to be repainted, but also potentially with a power washer or a stripper of some sort, they might, I don't know.
So
I send that to
by
me
July,
or
we
Lane
know
and.
more, what, I mean.
Okay.
And then I tried a power streamer after that and
So
it
didn't work,
yeah,
so I think by July.
It's not like I have like a washer in the back.
Aaron, I think we're gonna plan on, instead of making, I think we have action item next to adopt the plan or those funds. I think we're probably just gonna schedule like an ad hoc meeting when the money comes in.
Okay.
And on how to spend that money, because I think August 2022, they start ordering, we're getting Christmas or.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah,
So if that's, yeah, we'll just kind of be in touch whenever the money
Yeah.
drops.
Absolutely.
That's all sweet. Yeah, so we're gonna need one between.
Yeah.
Now and then. so.
Um,
Yeah. And then speaking of adoptive planner, the only pot that we didn't know about was urban style. Did you ever?
Yeah, I talked to her yesterday. I'm bringing it over.
Oh, okay.
when
Did
you
you
got in
have
the
it like
car,
in her own storage?
No, I got in a car accident and then they were all in my garage. So when they run back down, the volunteers didn't know it was supposed to go in front of them.
the volunteers, which is me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put them all
That's what
in,
I told her.
all
I
in
said,
North
"Volunteers."
Barstow. Yeah, so.
Okay, cool.
And I didn't.
Volunteer.
And then if I'm not mistaken, I wanted to confirm with you, but we wrote down all the stakes and there was none missing. from What we thought.
Just the Hello Adorn ones, but
Yeah,
I guess
that's
I make
okay.
them.
You know, I reached out to them and, I forget what that guy's name is, but, he said he didn't know any stakes.
Where you were,
Parker? I'm
Yeah.
guessing?
Yes, yeah. He wasn't aware of any stakes and,
Unless they were taken out of there, but I'm telling.
yeah,
both
but if you
of
ever
them,
find him,
number
email
one-
me.
Sure, yeah.
But
those
we
are
don't
for-
need them to read their thoughts anyways.
Yeah.
They're the number one tampered with anyway.
So I think that pretty much clears everything up for adaptive planner. We'll get together again and spend some money. Landscape up to date, I just want to circle back to that. That was our first agenda item. What kind of updates do you have for us? I think Aaron kind of gave us a rundown of what y'all are doing.
in the last.
Yeah.
year or two.
Yeah, so we got them prepped. We did a cleanup, hard cleanup. We got pre-emergent compost down in all of them with fertilizer. And then we mulched, that big mulch job. Cleaned up a lot. And then, so irrigation is going. We have one repair, that we noticed that needs to get done when it gets back. We didn't notice it was, we got it started and then I didn't notice it until
And just
2
a
days.
reminder, there will, oh no, it's subcontracted.
some contracted now. Yeah, so we have a budget of $1,000 to spend with irrigation per year. If it goes above and beyond that, I'll let you guys know.
And the subcontracting with Matt to deliver the mulch.
We'll get to.
Yeah, might be
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you keep saying that.
Yes, yes.
So everything's looking good. I got all, most of the plants. I'll be getting more. I'm doing North Barstow today. I did Graham yesterday. And then I'll continue to do the placement spots next week.
And you sent me like an update of, all the perennials that you had, that maybe you can let everybody else know, like, there was like a little tree that went somewhere.
Yep, I got a pussy willow tree. I have to plant that yet. But that will be in the entrance, closest to the bridge going towards north. And it's a pussy willow tree and it's fabulous for birds. I planted 6 different, spirea that are gorgeous. I planted some, willow. From the willow.
That's like not a tree?
No,
Okay.
no. No, well, the pussy willow tree is tiny. It'll only get like 4.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
tiny. And everything else, it's shrubs, and then hostas, sedum, iris.
You need more iris, I've got more iris.
I got more hostas and iris at the house and sedum.
Okay, well, let me know.
Great source for that.
They were talking about hostas and I was like, no, I promise you, this does
I'm
not
good with
need
the hot-
any more
I-
hostas.
We had already talked about, the Riverside lot. She's gonna look into, them, maybe if they dropped maintaining that, so. she's gonna check out.
The one
The Riverside lot by Phoenix.
that you always like, I just wanna fix.
Oh, the one to the right there. That you
It's
guys.
like the big long one, that like up by that parking.
She said if we wanna maintain it, we can, and then when that comes down, we can take those plants out, but it could use a cleanup. That's just money though, so.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, but I mean.
Or was the city gonna maintain it? The city's gonna
Oh.
maintain it, yeah. And
Oh,
then,
they are.
and then when they,
Yeah.
yeah, and then when they, we're gonna,
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
I was thinking that you guys could take over
Oh.
maintaining it and then transplant them. But I really have no opinion, so I can ask whatever you want to ask.
You know that, how much of a project would that be, even just to clean it up in there?
And see, we don't have any money
No, I'd have
to
to go
do
with
that.
I'd look at it with a team, with friends.
Why don't you look at it and then for the next committee meeting, add that as just a, agenda item?
Right, and we'd have to put it into next year's budget.
Right,
Yeah,
but just to start talking,
Planning it.
So I said, could you take any of those
mostly the.
out of there and use them in the
What
back?
kind of, no.
I know. They
We
spread
have
too
enough.
much.
No, we have a shit ton of it, sorry, but we have a lot of it.
No.
You're not gonna have daily.
So we don't wanna do that.
So we don't need them?
I'm not quite sure, okay. I do, okay, so just food for thought. It is your district. Obviously it's public, and it looks sloppy. So if something could be arranged, and maybe it's not today,
Yeah,
but deciding some plan with that would be wonderful.
I also am, it's getting tore down in the year or something, so there's.
It's not like the
no
plant-
sense in us putting a ton of
Yeah.
money into it.
Or maybe even just could get over there and clean it up a little bit.
Show me where it is.
When you first got here, you were like, I wanna do something with this. I was like,
Yeah.
I know for sure those retaining walls.
That's
what
it.
That's what it is?
Yeah. She like wants to get, but the whole thing's coming down soonish, year or
It
two.
has to.
So you don't like any of those plants that are? up?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No, it's the way it looks like a hot
So
mess.
we just need to take the ones that are crispy out and the
That,
green ones.
whole- I would bulldoze that whole side of it.
Okay, so what should I have?
Okay, I think the only concern would be that it does look a little bit overgrown and sloppy, so if anyone had,
There's some
time to
actual
just
dead ones.
kind of clean it up would be amazing, and even if it was the ambassadors, just kind of.
On Birch Tree, right?
Okay, so I'll
No,
just
that's
say,
not one of
Graham.
them.
Why don't we walk?
I think we just need to find out if they can
It's right
clean
next
up
to
on it.
okay,
The perennials in there, I don't think would be watered, I feel like.
Okay.
The perennials in there surviving all of this. It does look pretty good.
Like.
because let me just ask what the deal
Yeah,
is
that
with,
garden's
like,
awful.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking.
Yeah, and if they just wanna take them out, I mean, they can just take them out.
They
I thought you were talking
Would
about
that be
retaining walls
okay to
going
just
up
take
towards
it all out?
Birch Tree.
Probably.
I think so, yes. I think that would look just fine.
Yeah,
And we're not putting money into maintaining it if they're gonna tear it down.
no.
We're not doing
And daily, the morning glories that are in there, that seed spreads like wildfire. That's why over there. It's
Okay.
spreading like
Yeah.
crazy and destroying everything.
Yeah.
Morning glories, people do not plant that.
Well, I have them at my house because I love them. They cover my ugly fence.
Oh, we had one question.
Yes.
There's a bed in front of Coven that seems to
It's another dog poop area.
okay. I didn't know if there was something wrong with irrigation, but it looks like
That
it's
one.
fine.
And it's not dying, but yeah, it's a lot of key area. And so that one and the Lismore,
Oh, okay.
that's why that hydrangea should be, it's already 2 years old and it's not getting going.
So we did talk about the usage by dogs in certain planters, and at one point we talked about like a little cute sign that said something like, enjoy our planters, please get your dogs out or something. And I know we don't have a ton of green space downtown, and we don't have dog poop pickup bags because nobody could maintain kind of
There's only a
restocking them.
humongous park across the bridge.
Well, across, I know, but people who live in the apartments down here, like in the morning,
yeah.
they just come down and that's what they use. So I don't know if there's some sort of messaging at some point down the road that you'd want to consider, but it would be nice to try to convince people.
Adding the bigger perennials on those hedges is gonna stop, animals from going too far in.
I think just so many years of it happening, these plants won't even grow. I mean, those hydrangeas I planted 2 years ago and they're.
Yeah, it doesn't look better.
Maybe there's some sort of messaging that we can put out about, we're doing a scooter reel about like what you can do and can't do on scooters, and it's really funny. It is good. Like, don't ride along. It's really great. I can't.
Don't
remember
park in
how-
front of the.
Yes, it was like.
Great.
Like those where I live, those scooters, I'm a block out from the entrance to McDonough Park. It's about right in front of my house where they start getting out of their area. So there was a group of 4 girls last weekend that I think had a couple cocktails in them and they're flying down the street. They're like, it quit. We don't have any money left or we have to recover it or whatever. And they're like, they never told us we'd have to push them back. And then turning around, they're going back and, oh, it started again.
You're just sitting in your house laughing.
I mean, there's used a lot and they're great, but same concept, maybe we can do kind of like a public message about
That's
just like
cute
enjoy
little-
these, but.
There's a cute little sign that I almost put in
Well,
my
also
yard.
don't
It's
pick
got
the
a little
flowers, people
fairy
do that
on
too.
it, and it has something about your dogs and there's no magical poop fairy. that
Yeah.
comes along, you know, and
Yeah.
please pick up.
Yeah.
That might even be something, you know, with the style month, that's wanna like get some signage.
Yeah, I think something cute, and again, it would be about not picking the flowers,
Mhm.
and yeah, to their first. Stay out of it.
Just to. Besides
Well, we
that,
always say.
It just so that the city, as you guys know, I don't know if it got to Bird, but, with the scooters.
I reached out.
Okay. I had sent over a complaint to Decky because we've got like a big pot, you know, right in front of like where my business is, and there is like a line of 4.
They fan the scooters around the.
So we really like have an issue with that because that's like $1,000 investment, you know, by the time, you know, the pot,
Right.
the
Well,
floor.
and sometimes they're leaned against. them,
Yeah,
or-
and so like, while I know that they're allowed to be on the sidewalk, we're just asking if they can be.
They can change the drop locations, so if you really don't want it there, it could be like.
You could throw it to
corner.
like another
Yeah.
corner.
And that's the other thing,
Just
so
walk
Matt,
around and look where you ask them specifically.
So who would we like reach?
yeah, because I sent an email just to whoever I found online and I
I've
haven't
heard.
heard back. Mhm.
Just send it to me and, we will.
Okay, I'll forward that on.
follow.
That'd be great.
I mean, we should be responsive too, but,
Yeah.
we can make sure.
And Matt Habish has been moving them away and then people return them where they
Yeah.
are. So it's really simple, but we
Right.
just need to move
Yeah.
it. But again, ambassadors, and again, I don't know who the contact on ambassadors is. Is it still Billy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Billy's
But you
stuff.
can also just email, message Stephanie.
Sure. If they're just aware that we don't want them around the planters and if they notice it, just move it, because then people start the trend
Yeah.
as soon as they're moved.
There was a meeting that we actually suggested that
Okay.
and asked Billy if she could like, you know, move that on to the ambassadors, but it was early on in the phase and she didn't know they would have time for that.
I think mainly it's moving the
Drop location.
drop location, because I think people, I've never ridden one myself, but I thought that they had to leave it in that spot.
Anywhere within the dump. Yeah.
What, you know what corner I'm talking about, like kitty corner from where it's at.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
Matt moved it basically on Gray Street, just to the, you're facing south
Yeah,
to
let's
the left.
start with trying to just
Move
be,
the
yeah,
drop
yeah,
location.
Yeah,
if that is the
right.
thing.
That'd be really
It is,
helpful.
because the guys that do it in the morning when I'm watering,
Mm.
they're around with a truck
If you see them, touch them.
and,
Yeah, I think it's a type thing. I think it's just a
Yeah.
couple or a guy who does it, and they
Yeah.
do a pretty nice job of like arranging that. I mean,
it looks nice.
it looks nice, but yeah, so
But it's
I
like
would-
in front of.
yeah, I would just, yeah, I can work on
Yeah,
that, but
'cause
it's.
watering around that, it's gonna be a nightmare when I start watering with a
Yeah,
hose,
that's a
and
good
then
point.
all of those things are in front of it, and I'm trying to water in a flower pot,
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a good point.
like my
You
truck.
can also have them come to a meeting, like a Decky meeting or whatever.
That's a great idea.
Cause they're around the downtown a lot. You could even create like a little advisory committee of Bird and that's ambassadors and have them
That
have
would
like
be
a
so
standing.
amazing. I think we do.
And
We
our
do.
custodial
Yeah.
or whatever,
That would be good.
have like a quarterly downtown.
Kind of check in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, it's like, I'm not like, I don't get too worked up about it, but I mean, I hope the message does get to them.
Yeah, that's a
They're
simple
just
thing.
doing their job. They're just putting
Yeah, I
back
think
the
they're
drop
trying.
location.
I think they're open to, like,
Yeah.
they wanna be successful, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, honestly, people are having fun with them.
Yeah, it's great. Again, we just need some messaging about
Yeah.
how to use them. You know, I get like it's scary to ride in the street, but riding on the sidewalk is so dangerous and people just aren't thinking like someone could come out of this retail store and
Yeah.
get blown. But I haven't seen that happen too much, so.
We should talk about that, doing, yeah, meeting with all parties
Yeah.
involved.
Great.
You could get our custodial staff to particularly do the.
Yeah. Okay. We can talk about that when we're done here, guys. Okay, I think we can move on. Does anybody else have any other updates on landscape or adaptive planner? That's pretty much it. The mulch update and future plans. So there's, a lot of little thingies that happened here. So from the Eau Claire cleanup, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but from the Eau Claire cleanup, we had a woman who, she said, oh, this is great. Thanks, for letting us do this. And she was with her, high school sons. And, she said, if you guys ever need anything else, let me know. I said, well, that's funny. We actually need mulch.
Yeah.
Hauled from downtown to all the beds, it's a huge job. Long story short, she was so helpful, so willing, and she connected me with the North football team and the Memorial football team. And so last Saturday, was it? Or
Saturday
two
before,
Saturdays ago, I had a group of 12 guys and their coaches all hauling mulch.
Super cool.
It was super cool to get them like involved in downtown. So now we have contacts in case we ever want to use them.
I love that.
But there was a couple things that came from it. It's great. I'm glad it got done. It was an insanely huge job. We had not budgeted for it because we had no idea what this project looked like. And there's, from my understanding.
Talk about the history.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so we didn't budget for it because we were under the impression that mulch was being dropped off or something every year. Maybe you can speak to this, history of it,
Yeah.
but.
So up until, well, we didn't mulch last year because of the irrigation job and the year before, because we had things we were doing with that whole crazy stuff. But prior to that, every spring, the city would deliver mulch, downtown, and then during the downtown cleanup, some volunteers would help. But we had that service from forestry bringing the mulch over. That can't happen anymore, apparently. We were just told this year that they're not unable to deliver or provide them in the garbage
It's probably like
pail that they used to, because they never provided
Send
enough.
me out
That
so
was
that
it. Yeah,
They would give us so many and then be like, that's all
That's
you
so
get,
cute.
and then it would never cover the full
Right.
amount of beds, so then
I
I.
never spent so much time with like.
well, and now, because of the timing of when they get the city garbage cans distributed to parks and the timing of the downtown cleanup, there are no cans that they can fill to bring down and leave for us. So that's just done. So we still get the mulch for free from the city, but now what wasn't built into the budget because it hadn't happened before is the delivery of that mulch. And so, ideally, since the bid is paying for this, it'd be great if we could have the city just deliver the mulch annually. But this year you had to subcontract to get a dump truck to go over there to get filled, to be delivered.
Because of irrigation, because of, a
Yeah.
couple of years of it getting missed because of changes with the city. This year was huge. I mean, we had 5 dump loads of.
5, yeah.
We were lucky enough to
Well,
have,
I think yeah.
Mogen's lot was
We didn't
empty,
know.
so he allowed us to dump
Yeah.
there. That's not gonna happen every year, so. We
There
did
has
the
to be a
big
new plan.
project, we found the volunteers, happy to get it done, but moving forward, we do need to make a plan with the city on,
How to make that work.
yeah.
Reading Matt's message here, and I guess it sounds like it's this similarly to how it's a big work project for these. And people like that, it's a really big project for the city and they don't feel like they have the capacity to do it.
Yeah,
We're just looking for the delivery of the mulch, potentially in the future.
In the bins.
It doesn't have to be in the bins, so we would either need a public place central that we can have it dropped. And then just the timing of getting it dropped, because they had to pay out of their pocket to have a private dump truck come. So if there was a way to have one of the city trucks bring over and drop it somewhere that they can then
Like
just
once a
work
year.
from. One, it would be in spring, right, Jen?
Yeah,
And then because they did the full job this year, it would probably be
we probably need a lot less mulch.
Yes,
I guess.
about half the
Yeah.
amount we had this year.
So
So,
probably like 8 wheelbarrows of mulch per bed, and we have 23 beds.
Wow.
I mean, there's no way she could have done it, there's no way she could have paid, we would have wasted, what, $6,000?
Probably.
Hiring a team of people to do this, so that's a waste.
I know.
and we can use the volunteers, it's just the ease of, if the city has a truck that's easily enough loaded and dropped, that would save a world of trouble.
Sounds like it's a lot of work to load the truck.
Oh.
It's a lot of work to like at the, I mean, just from reading his email, that, yeah, every step of this is a bunch of work, so we probably just have to like figure out what parts the city can do and what parts. You know, so, but we still have some time before next spring, so I can work from there.
Are we working on
And
like
you
a
volunteers would load the truck, like the city MOU?
What?
Are we kind of working on like
Yeah.
a mid-city MOU? Like,
It could be part of your work plan.
I think it needs to be included
Yeah.
somewhere.
You could,
Yeah,
I think
it's a
that'd be great to
public
outline.
right of way, so, you know, and again, just because the city used to do it doesn't mean they have to, but there should be some shared responsibility, I would imagine.
He's saying, the logistical challenge, does the city have to load the vehicle, transport the mulch? Provide the rolling bins,
No rolling bins.
so
I
I
think
think
that was the biggest issue. was
with the rolling.
We
bins.
just
we
needed
took
an adult truck.
Dump
So let's just divvy it up and then include it in your
Sure.
work plan that you present or budget or whatever.
How
And so
many
then
are-
there's a
How
shared.
many yards of mulch do you think? Not for this year.
You
moving
had
forward.
25,
before, but I don't think it was that. It'd probably be, if we had to start all over again, it was
No, just
probably
for-
what,
didn't we, what did we
What
truck
would we
5
need
yards?
next
Yeah.
year?
So they had 25 yards delivered and they probably only need 15.
Like on an annual
Yeah.
basis.
I would say less though next year. Did we do a whole lot this year?
disintegrates quick, we'll see. I'm
Yeah.
Investing at least 2.
Yeah.
Next.
So it's at least 10 yards up to 15 yards
Yes,
And you did this all in one day, or was it?
with volunteers.
yeah, we had volunteers.
I mean, we had like 25 to 30 people working.
Helping.
in
And it was on a
two
Saturday?
shifts of
On
like
Saturday.
4 hours
So at
each.
least yeah,
We can get it dumped whenever, you know
the
what I mean?
Jeffers, because it comes from Jeffers, right?
Yeah.
Oil
Yeah.
Jeffers.
Yeah.
So that's open during the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so that
Monday,
was the
Wednesday.
problem, because the dump truck driver went there and there was no one on city staff to load it, even though we were told those were times that someone would be there to load it. So he had to go back multiple times based on
When someone's there.
when Matt was at the site.
We also.
So the
had-
coordination was just really difficult.
Yeah, we had somebody actually with a volunteer like hauler. But it was a kid in school. He couldn't get there till after 3 and the skid left before 3 and they weren't willing to work with us outside of those hours, which is fine, but we wouldn't have had to pay anybody with all the volunteer action that we got actually, but it didn't work out that way.
Big project.
So, long story short, we ended up having to pay Matt or Jen. had
Did
to
he
pay
bill
Matt.
you yet?
Yeah, he invoiced me, which I.
Is
included
it
with
600
the-
bucks or 500 bucks?
Is that
500.
I feel like that's something that needs to come out of the dollars and the
Reserve.
budget. I don't know if we need to make an action on that, or if that's something we can just present at full board, but
The action you would make would just be that you want to go to full board to request the money to be moved from reserves to
you agree with
landscape.
that?
Yeah, I
It's,
agree.
it's kind of like the irrigation issue. It's like, the problem, we had to get it
Unexpected.
fixed, it was unexpected, and nobody should have to take the hit for it.
No. And I think it'll be easier from here on out every so often,
Mhm.
so many years, you probably have to do a big one again, but there's probably gonna be some beds that need more than others
We could
next
get
year.
the football players every year. They're
I think the program is great.
Great.
Yeah, and Becky used it as a promotional. We sent out an email, you know.
Yeah.
I do want to get ahead of it and get a photo waiver so we can actually take pictures of them doing it.
Yes.
So-
It was both. Memorial.
Oh, shoot, we thought it was only Memorial. Well,
No.
we will update
We're gonna
in our
update
next mail.
Yeah, I mean, we've got those comments.
Yeah.
So I guess I'd be looking for a motion from you.
To request reserve monies.
Motion to request reserve money
To
to
cover,
cover the mulch.
Delivery. Yep.
I'm gonna go ahead and second that, okay? We all in favor?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll make that motion to bring that to full board and, yeah. And then hopefully they reimbursed. Cool.
Yeah.
That,
That was included with my last invoice.
The 500. I mean, you have the money in the purchase order. It would just be replenishing it so that you have your full budget. So, yep.
Yeah.
You know,
and I just have to ask to the mulch, do we worry about it coming out of the beds? Is that an issue?
sometimes,
Okay.
It's better now that you don't have the
Sprayers.
sprinklers.
yeah, the
Yeah.
sprayers definitely pushed it out of there, people in there pushes it out of there, but.
Yeah, dogs going in and out.
Yeah.
Do you,
And
I
then-
mean, do you think that we need to look at like, finding, they looked at something.
No, it'll be a trip hazard. I would not do that.
Not even at all.
I think signage is gonna be your best thing.
Yeah, we just need a nice sign that says stay out of that.
He's already looking, not
I
touching.
think it would be
Just an
something that
alarm
would
every
be high
time
enough
something
that
goes.
her dogs from walking
Yeah,
into it.
Because you can literally see, like, when you're walking, the plants that are closest to when you're walking are gone. Every yard
On the
plant
corners.
just on the, if you're walking and you see a garden, all the plants right there are dead.
Yeah, street side looks great.
Correct.
Yeah,
And so
fair
like
enough,
a lot of the time, I'm not even planting anything, because if I do, they're just gonna pee on it and it's gonna die.
You don't think like a little fence just on that
We
edge?
can't unless it's a tripping hazard if people are in.
Even if it's like this tall, you can't really trip on that unless you.
I think it
Somebody-
would take away from what you've got going on. I mean, you guys certainly talk about it. I think you'd probably need to find out from the city what's appropriate. The biggest thing would be
Yeah.
taking it down in the winter, so when snow removal is happening, that they're not,
Mhm.
Yeah. so.
I don't know.
I just,
Is it worth a try? Like on some of the ones that are like really, like the one in front of the police station?
I'm just gonna go around.
And then it's gonna go around the fence or go find another flower bed.
Mhm.
I think the idea, but it also would be something more for people
The only
to
thing
notice and
is-
grab.
Is I'm just gonna subcontract the boys to get it, come in and put big bushes in there and
Mhm.
see what happens.
Yeah,
Let's start with that.
I think let's start with that. Yeah, I mean, but I do it, I hate the idea that like we're losing our investment. Like that one plant, the hydrangea isn't even growing because people are stepping on that area. It's like, we can't keep doing that every year.
Well, they keep just cleaning it. My drain was sucking up straight acid. Like, oh, yum, thank you.
I really wanted to talk to, the Mr. Kitties and find out what they're doing with their green space. Out back.
Yeah.
And maybe that could be like a little like doggy pee pad.
I don't know.
I
It
know.
won't be green for long.
Talk to me, let's turn that parking lot into a green space.
Oh, wouldn't that be?
Dog park.
That'd be so cute.
Wouldn't it?
I'd love it, but
That's like a real urban thing. It's
Dog. really.
yeah, we've got
by your coffee shop.
$2 million
Right,
to
$2 million dog.
buy a parking lot.
It's just sitting there.
It's about $1.5 million too high.
All right, so I think, good. I think the only I wanted to make sure something about like invoicing, does Jen have everything she needs
I
for?
wanted to ask you, so, a few of the vendors have received purchase order letters from the city, but we've never had that happen before, so they're just a little confused, like why they're getting them.
Okay.
Ultimately, the request, because Jackie got them too, is that any invoices associated to that have the purchase order number on them. So that they get paid quickly or get matched up. So I just wanted to remind you on your invoices, did you receive one? There probably is a number associated with her purchase order, so if she could get it, then you include it on your invoice. Because they're requesting that, like Green Oasis got one, I got one, Tennessee. So I think we'll just help with processing. No, they just got sent out last week.
Oh, no. No. Yeah, but if you want to send the
Yep,
information.
I'll send you the PO number.
And so that's a new process. They just have to include that. Yeah. and-
I think it was kind of in that, when we had that meeting.
Yeah, I think
they have a
it was
list of what
probably
they want
something
every
that could have been happening for a while, but the letters did go out, and so it will just help with process and payment.
Yeah.
Was everything okay with my invoice? Today's Wednesday. They approved it.
So we discussed, I got it Monday, so we don't know if it got missed by,
Yeah, there was a
Another person?
transition. Yeah, so Billy's no longer doing the invoicing for the bid, so I think he just received it Monday, so it is going out this week.
yep. But I do have a question now that we're talking this, the adopter planters, because you were talking the monthly, it's not on there.
No, I don't charge that. I don't do anything with it. That's them.
Are we talking about the money that you were gonna take
The
out?
craft. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because you had it on your last one, but it's not on this one.
Should I just give you a check for it this month then?
I mean,
I don't have to
You
pull my,
You could either do 600 on the next one, or,
just make a payment to you then.
so here's the other thing,
I don't know.
you would owe for your renewal, so if you wanna add it to your renewal payment for your big pot, I can do that, and I can invoice you.
I don't know, maybe for clarity, you might just have to like rewrite your invoice.
Well, now she won't get paid though.
Well,
Can
can we just do it for the next one?
Yeah.
No, it's been
Yeah.
submitted.
Oh, it has. Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, it's,
Can we do two on the next one?
yeah,
That's fine. I think. Yeah, that's what you were referring to though?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
I actually was gonna. Oops.
Nothing.
Yeah.
My yard looks like an oasis right now with all the plants I'm doing.
Oh.
My garden just got prepped and there's nothing in it, but I have plants everywhere.
You do know he works with Down to Earth, right?
Really?
Yeah, so
Convenient?
I think
do
I
right
saw you
now.
on, were you there on Sunday?
Yeah.
if you need a subcontract, just kidding.
Yeah, I work with Ben and Elle a lot. Yeah, I was there Sunday and Ben's like, really? And you know how many people ask me if I work there? Every time I'm there, at least two people ask me where something is. I'm like, I don't even have a shirt on.
I do wanna talk, just cause I think this is for maybe the budget coming up and, you know, what our next landscape budget looks like. What, I'm always thinking about like our people outside of Barstow, you know, like past Lake Street is part of our district. Well, how easy is it to like water down there if we were to add planters down there or
Cross
from
lake,
lake?
hardship.
Yeah. Like that whole block there. I just feel like we don't give that enough attention, but I know it's been hard with watering because we don't really have irrigation set up and stuff over there.
You'd have to find a private business to
I
water
just
to use.
would not want the self-watering pots down there then,
Okay,
because that's hard to fill without irrigation.
okay.
Because those, with my tank, I have a 60-gallon tank. Right now, if I got a giant one, I'd have to get a new truck, which I can, but I think ideally. I know, but, I think ideally just to have regular pots over there
Mhm.
would be cool. Like, and then I could just keep going off of Graham, you know, like
Can you-
swing
yeah.
over that way.
Can you do both that Graham and the Barstow? You know, like on the shift side and then on the Brent Douglas
Yeah.
side? Okay.
Yeah, like if I just
Yeah.
went around like that and like
Yeah.
had a roof, that's cool.
We had problems with By Sojourner though, so we probably don't wanna put any pots up there.
Because
Right.
It was a bathroom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they pooped in the pot. Remember?
So we did move black pots away from there because of that. And
But if
Brent
we had like the
Douglas
big
used to.
orange ones, I mean.
No,
We scattered a couple, I mean.
perfect height for a toilet. Oh, absolutely.
4 foot.
I mean, they'll go where they can go.
Oh, king is hell.
Yeah, I know, yeah, I think.
You got my.
I mean, I just think you have to be strategic where you place them. So Brent Douglas, when he was doing the gardens on the street, well, and he's not doing it anymore, but,
Yeah. But you
because
also
of
have,
that
like,
same reason.
What about hanging?
He got a grant like years ago on that stuff. So that side of Lake Street doesn't have the new light poles and things because it didn't get redone. So you still have those old, really tall concrete ones. There are findings that you can get for that. And we do still have baskets.
Mhm.
I threw away the really bad ones.
Yes.
But we have about 20 of the iron ones that are still in good shape. So that's certainly an option if you guys decide. I'm looking into hardware for Water Street. And the vendor that we've gone through before, so I can get pricing potentially.
I think there's something cool to put down, like sculptures. They can't do nothing to sculpture, like do, like, and not as
Depends on what
much
they're
as,
made of.
yes. I'm just thinking like,
Yeah.
not plants, like, can we think of something cooler to put down there? I mean, I know it's gonna be destroyed. I just know it.
Even on the ship side. Oh, yeah, because
Yeah, it's already
not sure
there.
it's I think the biggest problem in that area is the Haas property that is like condemned on the corner.
Yeah,
I know there's been a million code ordinances violated, but nothing seems to be done, you know, with the storing of the, his trailers and the garbage cans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if that site somehow could get cleaned up, I know it's been a struggle, that would help immensely.
Yeah.
I think in that area.
Yeah, I mean, right, it doesn't need to be anything that we decide on today. I just think that we need to put that on
I
the
don't
radar. I think we give a lot of love to Barstow and
I know.
I don't want to forget that we also have Farwell and that we have Over Lake and.
Well, and you should
We have a big
plan
district
it.
and.
Farwell wants it, if it gets the diet and there's parking there, there's gonna be a lot more pedestrian traffic over there. And at that point, you probably will want to consider
Investments.
or planters or something to help with the facade.
You said no to hanging baskets over
I mean, I don't mind it,
there? Okay,
but I'm
we
just,
found the right kind of hardware
I don't mind that. I just keep thinking like, if we put pots over there and it happens like this before, it was just always stuck inside the pots and.
to, needles in there and, yeah, that's just.
And Parallel was unsafe, is unsafe. There was hanging baskets there years ago and it was so unsafe to water over there.
Mhm.
But again, this would all happen once if there's a diet and parking, so things are slowed. Because when the watering truck would come, we would, basically almost.
Yeah,
run
but I
over.
have to
Yeah.
do it
Thanks for
super-
coming.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have to
Thank
go.
you, no, we appreciate it.
And I was gonna say that Lane said that you can do whatever you like with that planter.
Oh.
But if you want the city to do something, then I can relay that as well. But if you do wanna do something with it,
The concrete planter?
the.
Or are you talking about Riverside?
Riverside.
Riverside.
Got it. I was like, the concrete planter we can do nothing with, but okay, good.
The Riverside one, if you guys want to take over it, you can have it, if you want them to clear. it
Sure.
out. So you just give me.
Got it.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you. What do you guys think?
I don't
Clear it out?
Have them clear.
Let's clear it out.
I mean, if that's what she said, then let's do it.
Yep.
It'll be a 1-day project.
Get some volunteers.
Yep.
Call me.
Yeah, you already went to the garden center.
What do you do there? Sorry, side note.
So you've actually emailed me before, yeah, like plant list for landscaping jobs. So I actually do the DIY consults. I'm still doing that. And then I work out there right now just on the weekends, like with trees and shrubs. So, yeah.
That's nice.
So I think, can you, like, food for thought, just come up with how, because as we're moving to budget, like, how much would that cost?
Oh.
If we were to kind of add anything that direction? I mean, even blowing up the sidewalks, you know, like, I mean.
You already-
anything.
Yeah, I
Do
said, I
that. We do all the sidewalks.
I do, well, not the sidewalks on Graham, yeah,
No, overlay.
Yep, she
Rick
goes over
Service
that.
and all that.
yeah,
You already do all those? Okay.
yep,
And they've
So
looked
this should just be.
so much better
Yeah.
since we started.
yeah, yeah, I do that, and then I'll go down there and, spray too,
Okay,
so. It's all
Yeah.
allocating time, you know, like, I'm gonna, obviously, I'm keeping way better track of my time. I hit my 30 hours or my 35,
That's done.
and I'm done. So that's basically what I aim for every single week,
Yeah.
and whatever's not getting done. And if I go over that, we'll see it, you
Mhm.
know, like last month I was over, I
Yeah.
think, my hours already. But I'm trying to, like, I don't know if I can try.
It's hard because you care so much, you want to do it, but there's, you just have to kind of
Okay.
find that fine line of,
boundaries, they say.
But it always.
I'm real good at
equals out,
that.
Because once the end of the year ends, you know, then I'm not doing as much. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't need to, everything's done, but
Right.
it's kind of some works kind
Yeah.
of balancing each
Yeah.
other
Well,
out.
there's another, like, just real quick, I don't know if this is considered announcements, but, we have a really large reserve balance
what is
for
it?
South Barstow, it's like 90 something.
Woo!
And it's just sitting there, and I know lighting talks about these projects, but like landscaping, we could also talk about these projects, we could do a major investment in a hanging basket.
If you invested
You
in
know,
what you were talking about, things that are being reused annually, even for adaptive planter, that would be awesome. Because again, one-time cost, it's
Yes.
missed, and it shouldn't really be like again, her labor budget shouldn't have to cover things like that.
Mhm,
That'd be awesome.
yeah. So I mean, I'm just always thinking like, you know, what are we sitting, I don't know what they,
Some of it is for your speaker system's outdated, or not outdated, is at the life for the speakers. They cost
Right.
roughly $1,000 to $2,000 depending
Right.
what it is. And then labor. So that was part of the reason of like kind of stacking it.
Yeah.
But at this point, we haven't seen any problems and it's probably gonna be one speaker here and there. So I don't know, but that's a huge
yeah, it
deal.
just feels like a very large dollar amount that we need to figure out ways to make larger investments. I see what North is doing all the time, and they do these big capital improvements, and it's just like,
So-
you can physically see the work that they're doing, and
Should we adjourn the meeting so we're not off topic? And I'd love to just mention a few things about that.
yeah.
It's not really an
exactly.
announcement.
Well, so bring some ideas to the table for this next meeting that we have to talk about spending this dollar and then possibly going to full board with some other ideas.
Maybe we can chat too, because I need some plans.
Okay, so
I've
we
been
can.
waiting.
And Jim's gonna be quiet.
10:07.
I saw that.
So
Hold on.